Hello everyone, I'm John Fox. I'm the Programme Director for Midlands Future Mobility. I work at WMG at the University of Warwick, who are the lead on the programme. We've also got Tom Stone from AVL on the line, and we've got Chris Reeves from Mira also, who I think will be presenting to you in a moment about Mira's facilities. So it's always a bit of a challenge to talk about MFM in 10 minutes, so I'll do my best. You can look at it as three things. It's the large-scale public realm testbed. There's digital twins and simulation tools to support it, and an ecosystem of businesses offering a very wide range of services, which I can't even begin to go into in detail in 10 minutes. I'm going to give you a very brief overview of both. So the testbed itself is situated between Coventry and Birmingham. The main and original sort of urban and interurban part is the blue part there, which is sort of packed with infrastructure, which I could give you an insight into in a moment. And then there's also then the red rural and highways extension, which rolls in the UK CITI loop, which was a project which WMG were part of some years ago with Highways England, looking at vehicle to infrastructure communications, and then a range of rural roads. We don't have very dense infrastructure on the rural roads, though we do have the whole area scanned and mapped. But we essentially we've got kind of areas where we can take mobile infrastructure along to do testing at particular junctions of interest. So if you had something that was perhaps a sort of blind junction feature that required some infrastructure, we could put that out and do some testing with it and then take it away. But as you can see, we've selected this route based on essentially having an awful lot of journey creation, a lot of sort of key features, things like airports, rural, kind of the depths of the worst rural roads you could find right into the centre of Birmingham. An example of some of the infrastructure that you find on the route. So we'll zoom into the Coventry end. You can see weather station at the bottom there in light blue, and then the yellow roadside units and the green CCTV cameras. And I've zoomed in on one particular junction just because it's a good example of the depth of infrastructure that we've got. So if you go to that junction today, which is where Holyhead Road crosses another major road in Coventry, Moseley Avenue, you'll find that we have our data hub, which is developed by Amy. So this has a very large array of static attributes and dynamic attributes for that road to help plan the experiment. You'll find the CCTV provided by Costain, which is triggered via an app. So you get a login for that app, and with geofencing, it kind of starts and stops and then uploads to the data hub the footage of your testing. You'll find enhanced coverage, so roadside units for secure vehicle to infrastructure communications, and also excellent 5G coverage, which has been enhanced around the testbed by Vodafone. And you'll also be able to use our safety pool database, which is something developed by our V&V team, which essentially allows you to look at specific scenarios for specific types of testing. So again, to help you plan testing, you can do virtual testing and simulation, which is aligned to what you can go and do in the real world. And we've also, in the bottom right there, got a full LiDAR radar scan of the route. I mentioned, but I'll touch on it again, the mobile comms. So we've got 80% of the urban route covered by 5G, 99% 4G and narrowband IoT. We've also got a section of the route in Birmingham covered by neutral host small cell 5G infrastructure. So this is potentially where the market's heading in the future. Very, very high bandwidth communications available there. And then we've also got our research team at WMG with a 5G campus network and drive-in kind of anechoic chambers and Faraday cages, etc. So you can test transmit and receive equipment in a controlled environment. In terms of simulation, again, a very high-level overview. Mira will talk to you a little bit more about their services in this space, but Mira have mapped and have simulation capabilities in very challenging junctions and locations on MFM. AVL have developed their vehicle and systems simulation capabilities, and as an example there of their driving cube. We've also got sort of human factors tools and services, so our 3XD simulator, which you can see being demonstrated in the middle of the screen there and in the top right, and then Coventry University with their essentially kind of augmented reality, and so you can actually interact with things and walk around. And then from an infrastructure perspective, we've got the data hub, which I mentioned earlier, which has all of the infrastructure for configuring around the testbed. And then via Immense, we can essentially just draw all this together and do kind of multi-actor macro simulation. So lots of kind of what-if analysis stuff. So if we roll out Glosa on these junctions and we get this degree of uptake based on our human factors testing and compliance, then what could we do in terms of improving traffic flow, etc. Those kind of what-if scenarios. As an overview, these are the services that each partner offers. Hopefully something of a recap of what I've talked about. In particular, Transport for West Midlands, working with local authorities for the on-road infrastructure. So very much the case that the local authorities are open and keen to support SMEs doing testing in the region. We have a safety process and safety group which Transport for West Midlands and Highways England are part of, to ensure that we've got a quick process to get onto the real roads safely. We've also got a trialling environment on our campus at the University of Warwick, where we can test things around wireless communications and around final mile delivery, etc. As well. It's actually not public roads, so we are able to test things which are not yet road legal, providing there's a safety case to support that. But really, the message here is, we need to talk more. I'm afraid I'm going to do something similar to one of my predecessors this morning and say that I'm unfortunately on leave as of tomorrow for 2 weeks. So I'm not going to be available, but my colleague Siddhartha Kaskia will take your queries, and also Tom on the line now from AVL will be available to respond, or else James, who's highlighted there for AVL as well. But if there's something specific that you've seen from the services outlined, feel free to contact them directly. Equally, feel free to come through ourselves or AVL to ask questions more broadly.